Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game Mess. So, I got a super fun and exciting episode for you guys today, because as of 24 hours ago, GearGrafx, the SuperGrafx, TurboGrafx, PC Engine, and PC Engine CD emulator got an update. And to say this thing's definitely becoming my choice for the de facto best emulator for basically the entire PC Engine and TurboGrafx line of hardware would be an understatement. Because I absolutely love some PC Engine. I've got both the briefcase unit as well as a DuoR, as well as a TurboGrafx in my collection, but honestly, software emulation definitely helps keep the dream alive for a lot of people that don't own original hardware or don't have a Mr. FPGA. And that is always a good thing, because honestly, these games are absolutely incredible. The PC Engine and TurboGrafx have an insane library, and it definitely is something a lot more people should be playing. Before we get too far involved though, do me a huge favor down below, hit like and subscribe and ring that notification bell, definitely helps us out. And if you feel so inclined and want to support the channel, I got a Patreon link down below as well. And if you want a setup guide and tutorial for something like GearGrafx, leave me that comment down below. I find it very easy to set up, but I know sometimes you guys need a little extra help, and I'm always willing to do that if it is something you're interested in seeing. But basically, any test of any emulator that's going to be PC Engine based is whether or not it can run Rondo of Blood, and it can do it effectively. The good news here is everything works exactly as I would expect it to, although it has been about 4 years since I actually played this game. And a complete aside, I kind of ruined Rondo of Blood for myself, because when our last Corgi Pip was getting very old and sick with epilepsy, basically I had to stay up all night long for like a week monitoring her, and I played Rondo of Blood during that period of time, so every time I play this game now, I think of our sick Corgi and it kind of bums me out. But it's one of those things, definitely still a good exhibition as far as the emulator is concerned, and it's definitely doing everything here that I need it to. And that's kind of how I always test something like a new emulator or an emulator update. I go to games that I've played basically dozens of times before, and I kind of look into their performance and think to myself, am I noticing anything here that would otherwise throw my performance off or my gameplay off, or does it just seem fun? And the good thing for Rondo of Blood is nothing here seems to be problematic whatsoever. So I will leave a link in the description below so you guys can go over to the GitHub page and check more about GearGrafx out. But you'll see here it's TurboGrafx 16, PC Engine, SuperGrafx, PC Engine CD-ROM, and it's going to run all of the arcade games as well. Basically, this thing leaves nothing behind. And the nice part is it's Windows, Mac OS, Linux, BSD, as well as RetroArch. So basically any operating system you want to be on that doesn't seem to be Android, you'll be totally fine. And if you like to do any sort of ROM hacking, you probably already know about this one, but the amount of granular data this thing will actually give you as far as how all the memory addresses work, what every single chip is writing to as far as the pellets are concerned, is wild. And honestly, it'll run Icho and Iki, so it's got to be a 10 out of 10. Now if you do want to grab this thing, you just go over to the release, and you'll see here as of yesterday, at least when I recorded this video, 1.6.5 is out with a bunch of different bug fixes and some new features as well. And that's definitely the one you want to grab, the most recent version, and again, it's going to be basically available for every operating system out there, so just grab the one you need and you'll be totally fine. And if you really haven't gotten too far into the PC Engine or TurboGrafx line of games, trust me, there is an absolute metric crap ton of stuff here. There are thousands of titles, and there's definitely a couple hundred that I would absolutely consider must-plays. And even though I'm not sure everyone would consider Icho and Iki a must-play, it is one of those games that perfectly personifies just how weird the PC Engine could be when it came to games coming from Japan, and just how damn charming those things can actually be. You tell me down below if you ever played the Cho and Iki franchise before or not. It's one of those things I always feature on the channel because it's weird, and it also has one of the best soundtracks on PC Engine in my opinion. So soundtrack sample one time, and I'll be right back. I mean, not only does Icho and Iki have one of my favorite soundtracks in video game history, but it also is a very good test as far as the audio quality of GearGrafx, because it is something I've listened to dozens upon dozens of times before, and it honestly sounds exactly like I need it to, so definitely high marks as far as the audio quality is concerned. Now moving over to Makiyamura here, this is a port of the arcade version over to the TurboGrafx, and even though the TurboGrafx definitely didn't succeed in the marketplace and there is only a handful of games, GearGrafx is going to cover each and every one of them, which is definitely important because if you're going for a full library and emulation, you have to support the TurboGrafx, and even I don't actually have a console in my collection at this point in time. I sold it some years ago when the Mr. FPJ Core 100% covered the entirety of the PC Engine hardware library, including the TurboGrafx, so it's something that even I didn't really feel the need to keep around for the handful of games I owned. So it's great that something like the actual GearGrafx emulator is going to support all of these games, because even though you can obviously play the arcade original on something like Ghouls and Ghosts here, there are other games that are basically exclusive to the TurboGrafx that are definitely worth checking out. And if you are curious, all of the arcade ROM cartridges are going to work as well. All of those games that require that arcade system disc and the CDs, they will be perfectly fine here. In my testing, I have yet to find a single game on something like GearGrafx that did not perform exactly as I expected. And that's definitely nice, because if you're going for Mednafen for your standard PC Engine or PC Engine CD emulation, I think GearGrafx with its UI and ease of use might actually be something you want to pivot over to in the future. But you tell me down below what emulator you use for these systems, I would be curious. Now moving over to something like Splatterhouse, I am playing the North American version here just to show you guys that it covers obviously all regions, but the nice thing is this has a decent filter suite in there as well. You have scan lines, you have motion blur, kind of that overall ghosting that would be on a CRT, and you have the ability to articulate the image any way you want. Now, I would still recommend using something like shader glass over top of GearGrafx versus what they have, but it is nice to have these options in here. The only thing is they are on by default, so if you don't want them, you're going to have to turn them off. And before you ask, I really don't like putting scan lines over top much YouTube footage, because YouTube compresses these things and it's out of my control, and more often than not, what you see on your screen is not what I see on my screen. But as far as Splatterhouse is concerned, definitely a game that I think kind of looks good with that nice scan line over the top. And again, Splatterhouse is just one of those games that's synonymous with the PC Engine and TurboGrafx, and for the longest time was the best home port we had available in the West. Sure, if you're in Japan and you have an FN Towns Marty, you had the best port, but it's one of those things. If you're in North America and you wanted to play the original Splatterhouse, the arcade board was quite rare, so basically I'd say 9 out of 10 people encountered this franchise first on the TurboGrafx, and it definitely is playing exactly as I would expect here. And that's what I look for when I recommend emulators to you guys. I don't want to be able to show you something and say 80 to 85% of the games work perfectly fine, but some struggle. I've been playing around with this thing for a couple months now in my spare time, meaning to make a video, and the most recent update spurred me on to actually sit down and do that, and I have not had any issues whatsoever. Obviously, I have a Mr. FPJ, 7 of them, in fact way too many, and it's one of those things. I can play PC Engine, TurboGrafx on that as well, but I understand that options are incredible for everyone, and it's one of those things. If you just basically have an emulation box next to your TV, I can't recommend this one enough. Let's do one more soundtrack sample so you can hear not only the amazingly weird music in Splatterhouse, but also how accurate it is to real hardware, and I'll be right back with just a little bit more GearGrafx. And the fun part is, even if 99 out of 100 of you aren't going to care about this whatsoever, as far as the functionality is concerned, the debug menu is absolutely insane, and you can see in those breakpoints here, the real-time memory addressing changing as we play the game. So for ROM hackers, this is definitely going to be something that is amazing, but I'm sure most people already know about that. And the only other thing I need this thing to do is be able to play Bomberman 94, because outside of Saturn Bomberman on the Sega Saturn, this is the second best Bomberman game ever made in my opinion. So if you guys want to see a tutorial on how to get GearGrafx set up, leave me a comment down below. Even though I would say it is on the easier side of things, I totally understand. These videos are definitely important for some people, and I want to make sure everyone has access to whatever retro games they want to play. And even if your skill set is like mine and you basically can get anything set up with enough work, some people out there definitely need that helping hand. So if you're one of them, do tell me and I'll definitely make that video for you guys. And again, if you want to play around with this, the link to the GitHub is in the description below. Grab it for Windows, grab it for Linux, grab it for whatever operating system you want. But if you are on Mednafen, I think you should definitely give GearGrafx a try because it does everything Mednafen does, just with a much better UI in my opinion. But short of that, go download the emulator, play some PC Engine or TurboGrafx, and leave me a comment telling me what your favorite game on the platform is. But I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.